Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjanishalaakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamin Niti Namine. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudhirayet. In this session, we'll be discussing from the 35th and the 36th verses of the 7th chapter of the first canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. The 35th verse, Mainam partharhasi tratum brahma bandhum imam jahi yosav anagasa suptan avadhin nishi balakan. The meaning of this verse is, Lord Sri Krishna said, O Arjuna, you should not show mercy by releasing this relative of a Brahmana, Brahmabandhu, for he has killed innocent boys in their sleep. Krishna is justifying punishing Ashwathama appropriately because Ashwathama has killed innocent boys in their sleep. He is not observing the rules of Dharma Yudha. And he's being referred to as Brahma Bandhu, relative of a Brahmana. He is not a Brahmana. By his actions, he has proved otherwise. So, in the purport, Srila Prabhupada says, the word Brahma Bandhu is significant. Ashwathama being referred to as Brahma Bandhu is significant. A person who happens to take birth in the family of a Brahmana, but is not qualified to be called a Brahmana, is addressed as the relative of a Brahmana and not as a Brahmana. This is very, very important point to be understood, that simply by birth in a Brahmin family, without qualification, nobody can become a Brahmana. Nobody can be called as a Brahmana. Brahmana is only if they are qualified, only if they have characteristics and qualities of a Brahmana as described in the Shastra. Prabhupada gives an example. The son of a high court judge is not virtually a high court judge, but there is no harm in addressing a high court judge's son as a relative of the honorable justice. So Brahma Bandhu, because he is son of a Brahmana, he can be addressed as Brahma Bandhu. Therefore, as by birth only one does not become a high court judge, so also one does not become a Brahmana simply by birthright, but by acquiring the necessary qualifications of a Brahmana. So qualifications are very important. In modern times, there are some people who claim to be Brahmana just by birth in the Brahmin family, but they don't have the qualifications. In the Bhagavad Gita, these qualifications are described, 9 different qualifications. Shamo, Damo, Tapas, Shaucham, Shanti, Rajyavam, Evacha, Jnanam, Vijnanam, Astikyam, Brahma Karma Subhavajam. A Brahmana naturally works by these qualities. Control of mind, control of senses, Shamo, Damo, Tapas, Shaucham. Tapa is austerity and Shaucham is cleanliness, like that. So, Brahmana has to have qualification. As the high court judgeship is a post for a qualified man, so also the post of a Brahmana is attainable by qualification only. This is the Shastric injunction. But it is not understood properly or not enforced properly in modern times. The Shastra enjoins that even if good qualifications are seen in a person born in a family other than that of a Brahmana, the qualified man has to be accepted as a Brahmana. Yasya lakshanam proktam. That whatever the qualities that are seen in a particular person, irrespective of his birth in some family. Let's say somebody is born in a Vaishya family, but the person displays all qualities of a Brahmana. He has to be accepted as a Brahmana. That's what this is telling. The Shastras say like that. Similarly, if a person born in the family of Brahmana is void of Brahminical qualification, he must be treated as a non-Brahmana, or in better terms, a relative of a Brahmana, Brahma Bandhu. So without qualification, nobody should be addressed as a Brahmana. And there is sometimes protest by the so-called Brahmanas if somebody born in a Vaishya family is referred to as a Brahmana because the person is qualified as a Brahmana, the others will protest. Lord Sri Krishna, the supreme authority of all religious principles, the Vedas, has personally pointed out these differences. Krishna actually explains this in several places, in several occasions, instances, that only by qualification we can call somebody a Brahmana or refer to somebody as a Brahmana. And a Brahmana, actually, even if he is qualified, he has to behave and conduct himself like a Brahmana. He should display those qualities which are mentioned in the scriptures. Now, Krishna is about to explain the reason for referring to Ashwatthama as a Brahma Bandhu in the next few shlokas. So, the 36th shloka is again spoken by Krishna. Mattam pramattam unmattam suptam balam striyam jadam prapannam viratham bal bhitam naripum hanti dharmavit. The meaning of this 36th verse is that a person who knows the principles of religion, such a person is called dharmavit, does not kill an enemy who is careless, intoxicated, insane, asleep, afraid, or devoid of his chariot. Viratham, devoid of chariot. Afraid, bhitam, asleep, suptam, then mattam, mattam means careless, and pramattam, intoxicated, unmattam, insane. All of them don't deserve to be killed. That's the Shastric injunction. Nor does a person who knows the religious principles kill a boy, a woman, a foolish creature, or a surrendered soul. Boy is balam, a woman is striyam, then jadam, one who is foolish, and prapannam, one who is surrendered soul. So there are strict principles by which a follower of religious principles conducts himself. So Srila Prabhupada explains in the purport, an enemy who does not resist is never killed by a warrior who knows the principles of religion. Somebody may be designated as enemy, but if he is not ready for fighting, or he does not resist when attacked, then he should not be killed. Formerly, battles were fought on the principles of religion and not for the sake of sense gratification. Religious principles, Dharma Yudha, Dharmavit, one who knows the principles of religion. And formerly it was fought like that. If the enemy happened to be intoxicated, asleep, etc., as above mentioned, he was never to be killed. Just like this Ashwathama, he killed the sleeping sons. So that somebody is sleeping, you should not kill them, even if they belong to the enemy party. These are some of the codes of religious war, Dharma Yudha. Formerly, war was never declared by the whims of selfish political leaders. It was carried out on religious principles free from all vices. No bad habits, no irreligious behavior. So that way Dharma Yudha used to take place in the former times. Violence carried out on religious principles is far superior to so-called non-violence. Srila Prabhupada concludes this purport by telling one very important thing. Sometimes people think non-violence is to be practiced and followed, but that is got a specific situation where that non-violence has to be applied. When Buddha invented, people were indiscriminately killing animals in the name of Vedic sacrifice. So that is when Buddha incarnated, and he wanted to stop this animal killing, and the genuine followers of the Vedas, of our scriptures, they recognized and understood, yes, animals should not be unnecessarily killed. So a person who knows religious principles actually is always careful not to kill even the enemy when they are sleeping, when they are without a chariot. If it is a chariot fighter, he has to be on a chariot. If it is without a chariot, they will never attack such a person. And in the course of a war, children and women are never killed. This is very, very important. So we come to know through all these instances described here how in former times the society was very, very highly developed and advanced in following all such religious principles. And these principles are very, very practical to follow. It is not simply some theory alone. At least 5,000 years back, there was strict adherence to the principles of religion by the followers of Dharma. Especially the Brahmana, Kshatriyas and Vaishyas used to follow all the religious principles. They never would violate, generally, they never would violate. And therefore society was well organized and very, very peaceful. And the Kshatriyas always protect the citizens against attack by some foreign king or foreign person. They not allow that the citizens were attacked. So therefore the principles of religion were followed very strictly in the former times. And when somebody engages in violence, but on religious principles, when it is done, it is actually beneficial for everyone. It is never degrading anyone. And non-violence wrongly applied means there could be sinful reactions. And that's what Krishna tells Arjuna in the 4th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. Krishna tells Arjuna,